If we can talk a little bit about life during your MIM phase. So, what was your impression of studying abroad? A little discussion on course load, coursework, electives.
Yeah, right. I think firstly, I just want to say that MEM program is quite flexible. You can structure it the way you want it and also can make it like 2 to 4 years. So I personally took a gap year where I did 3 internships. Apart from this, I got to choose 2 specializations, which I did in consulting and then it was in sales and marketing. There are 4 semesters, usually lasting like 3 months, and after that, if after your first year of masters, there's usually like a summer break where you can take up different things, different courses. I was into consulting, so I did participated in student competitions and societies. I also like to volunteer, so I was also a part of student club for UNICEF. So again, there are a lot of opportunities for you to pick things apart from your academic, and it's very flexible. In terms of course load, I think it's important that you manage your time well because at times it's a lot of assignments, projects, and group work, which is a bit different from how Indian curriculum is usually structured. I think in here back in France, I realized that there are a lot of group assignments, and you do end up talking to a lot of people, networking, and um, things like these. Examinations are also a little different from India. Like some of the subjects had pen and paper examination, but some of them we just submitted our group projects and we had presentations to give. So yeah, there are different ways to grade your coursework. Apart from this, their classes usually last like 1.5 to 2 hours per subject, and I had them almost every alternate days, sometimes on weekends as well. But it's not that pressurizing if you are able to manage your time well. And yeah, I think just balancing it out well.
Yeah. One of the concerns of students going for studying in Europe is the language issue. What was your impression of that, and how did you like overcame that?
That is one concern for sure because knowing the local language makes your life easy, be it in terms of just getting your groceries done or some administrative work or doing well in the interviews and getting more shortlist. So I wanted to for sure focus on the French aspect and started learning back in India. I almost reached A2 when I was in India before joining ESCP, and I continued to learn. The
Okay.
school also provides you classes, and apart from this, I was taking additional classes as well, and like a lot of efforts from my end to get a grasp of the language. I reached P1, and if you are serious about the language and making sure that you speak in the interview, then you have to reach like B2 on a professional level. So
Okay.
if a student is motivated, then I would always suggest that it's great because it just totally makes your life easy and you're able
Yeah.
to connect with more people, do better networking, and it kind of eases the language barriers in the integration part.
Yeah. Okay. So, were there like opportunities for exchange programs as well?
So, as I said, the program is quite flexible and you can structure it the way you want it. And there are a lot of exchange programs as well as dual degree opportunities. The only rule is that if you want to get a dual degree or do an exchange, you cannot do it in your own country. Other than that, you are free to pick the universities, and of course it's always like depending on the demand and applications the school receives, you are shortlisted based on your GPA or your academic performance in the business school. Also you have to write a letter. So I did apply for a dual degree program in US, got selected, but then eventually I decided to opt out for various reasons. But I actually then ended up going to an exchange at HHL University in Germany, and I think I really had a good time because it's always a good and nice experience to
Yeah.
study one semester in a totally different university than yours, and you meet new people, you learn new things, and I had a good time there.
Yes. So, any of your advice for students during this phase?
Yeah, so I think like there are a lot of things to do with limited time. I always did what I thought was a priority for me. For example, I focused a lot on learning the language. For somebody, it might not be. So maybe they want to focus on doing something else. So just understand that what are the things you
Yeah.
want to learn and prioritize them well. I was also into consulting, so I made sure I do cases probably like every weekend before my interviews start happening, because it actually helps me in prepping for them. I strongly advise students to do case studies, and just to make sure that you are in the mode of interview preparation and at your best step forward. In terms of advices, just manage your time well and sort your priorities, and also like
Sure.
try to balance between your extracurricular activities, your job search or internship process, as well as your academic work.
Correct. So, coming to the internship part, so when does this phase of applying begins? Because I've seen people as soon as they land there, they just start applying, so that in the next summer break they have some internship. So, how is like the timeline? Uh, when does the process
Right. So
starts?
no, yeah. Sure, because it also depends on the length of your course program. If it's just like 1 year, like 14 months or something, then of course it's much more pressure, or like can be a bit stressful to find internships. But at ESCP, we usually we have 2 years of masters, and I think there is no need to just get into the internship or search process moment you get an admit and you're in France or any other campus. I would suggest to take your time. First semester, just settle in and see what subjects you like, where would you eventually want to work. But once you get into your second semester, that's when things get a bit more serious, and based on your desired internship start date or month, try to start the process 3 to 4 months in advance, because usually the first month you're still trying to figure out your resume, getting it reviewed, and it comes with a lot of edits, and that process takes a bit more time. And that's
Yeah.
when you actually understand what's working for me, which where I'm getting the shortlist from. And I think usually, since it's the first time, 3 months is like 3 months in advance is a good timeline to start looking for internships.
Okay. So as in India, we have a placement cell where they bring in companies. Is it like the same in Europe? Is there like a placement or career support in the colleges?
It's different from India because we don't have a placement cell here, but we have career services here. But basically, there are sessions about how to write your resume, how to write a cover letter, how to go about in your application process, and come up with some internship or job search strategies. And you can book one-on-one appointment with the team as well, but it's definitely
Yeah.
not like the placement. You have to search for opportunities yourself, apply maybe through LinkedIn or through the career through different career portals or directly on the website. That part you have to do on your own.
Okay.
But if you need help, for sure, career services are always available in the school.
Okay. Other than LinkedIn, is there any particular platform for France also, or in Europe, maybe specific to those regions?
Yeah, apart from LinkedIn, Job Teaser is one of them, and it was affiliated with ESCP. So there you
Okay.
get job opportunities posted, which at times are specific for ESCP students. So that's like a higher chances of getting selected. It depends a lot on the country you are in. For France, I would also active on Welcome to Jungle. In Netherlands, I would go for Magnet, and for Germany, I was active on Stepstone. So yeah, I mean there are a
Okay.
lot of career portals depending on the country you are in.
Okay. So next question was: do schools USPs, or if the school has a particular strong point in one of the fields, be it consulting, be it genuine roles, does it affects the kind of opportunities you get? Suppose if somebody wants to go into a particular field, should he target that school only, so that he gets much more opportunities in that?
Well, it's this is quite subjective, because, for example, if you wanna go into finance, and maybe you want to go for business schools in London, but it
Yeah.
does not mean that anybody who is in France or Germany cannot get a finance
Yeah.
job. It's just that London is the financial hub, so probably better opportunities or more
Yeah.
opportunities there. But at the end, once you graduate, you are eligible to apply for a job anywhere, as long as the company is willing to sponsor your visa. So
Yeah.
and if you have a good profile, then I think you're just open to apply anywhere. It shouldn't matter that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, coming to profile, what can a student do even before coming? What constitutes a strong profile, and what do employers basically look for?
Right. I mean, before actually joining the business school, I wouldn't
Yeah.
suggest students to stress about a lot. Maybe you can start learning the language if you are interested. And also, for if you come from a non business background, then I'm guessing that the business school would already give you some preparatory courses to as foundational courses to learn a bit more about business subjects. It was not the case for me because I'd already studied them in my bachelor's. But for example, if you are from an engineering tech background, then maybe you would be given some foundational e-learnings to do. So yeah, you already have something to do at that time, and also like just enjoy, and it's fine. Like
Yeah.
just start talking to your future classmates. That really helps a lot. Probably if you want to look for accommodation together and just build like make some friends. So I think that really helps a lot in few months before on really joining the school. After joining the school, it's majorly trying to understand that where are your interests. For example, if
Mm.
you would like to do an internship in marketing, try to join the marketing club of your business school. That will help you get a practical exposure or knowledge which is apart from your theoretical subjects. It will help you connect with like-minded people who are also into marketing, so you end up learning a lot. Attend webinars, participate in
Yeah.
student case competitions. For example, L'Oreal has a marketing business case competition every year. So maybe if you're interested, you'd probably want to participate there. It just helps you add some good brownie points in your resume and let the employer know that you are genuinely interested in interning or working with them.
So was it in any way difficult for you as an international student getting a job? Did you feel that it was a bit difficult, considering a language play a big part in getting a job?
Yes, it's always a bit tricky and difficult for a student who does not speak the language and has to get visa sponsor job. So these two barriers do end up eliminating more than half of the job opportunities in the market, and that is a sad part. But it's something which we already always know before even
Yeah.
like it's before actually joining the business school. Every student should be aware of these challenges and make a conscious decision that this is going to happen. And it's a bit of a harsh reality, and it is for sure at times can be demotivating because you don't speak the language but your profile fits well, or they're not sponsoring the visa because probably it's a startup and they don't have the budget. It
Yeah.
is tricky to be in these situations, but I think over the time you learn to navigate. You understand that which companies or organizations have a better shot of selecting my CV. You work towards that, and eventually, if you are genuinely like working hard and working smart,
Yeah.
I've seen most of the students, landing good internship offers or full-time job opportunities once they graduate.
The industries and job roles that are there open for MIM grads, are there like a particular set of roles, or?
For me, I think it's quite open. Like MIM lets you pick the career opportunities which you're interested in because it's not like a specific program. So I usually see a lot of students going in consulting, finance, marketing, sales, a bit of operations as well. So yeah, it's
Okay.
like a mixed pool of students going in different career streams, and it's quite flexible, and people can choose whichever career they want to like pick or whichever field they want to pursue in the future. There are no restrictions as such.
Okay. So how important is networking versus applying directly?
Yep. So networking does help. It helps you in. I suggest that don't look at just networking from the perspective of getting a job or getting an offer, but also in terms
Okay.
of learning. Maybe you can ask
Hmm.
them about how the job is, what's the culture of the organization. It will help you eventually realize that if you will be a good fit for the company.
Yeah.
So try to look at it from that perspective as well, Mm, and not just getting a referral. Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes we mistake that networking is all about getting referrals, but it's not. I
Yeah.
was in one of the career fairs at ESCP, and I was talking to one of the interviewers at KPMG, and we just started having a conversation. And I started talking to him about my previous KPMG experience in India, and we had a good conversation, and kind of helped me in getting an interview and then I eventually interned there in Paris office. So yeah, I think that is also part of networking. Like, be active in career fairs and try to talk to recruiters or employees for the companies you are interested in.
Okay. So, can you share a bit about your job experience or jobs search story?
Yes, so I think I started quite early. I started preparing for this at the end of my third semester. I usually advise students, if like try to make a list of companies, top 50 companies you would probably want to work in, 30 to 50, make a list. Look at their website, see what kind of positions are available right now. Apart from this, be active on LinkedIn, set your job alerts, and that helps a lot. Also, look for different career portals, not just concentrate on one portal. And applying to website also helps. I was actively doing it. I did mix of things together and didn't just focus on one. For example, LinkedIn, applying to the websites, different career portals, talking to people. And yeah, I think it's like a mix of things to do together with your last semester. This
Okay.
also includes start prepping for your interview and not wait for the last minute. And then it's not a good strategy to wait to delay your interview prep, and then it's just uh, it's just better that if you do start prepping for the interviews early.
So one other thing was, yeah, if you complete an MIM, does it limit your opportunities to that particular region only, or is it like open in whole Europe or even in US or Asia?
It does not limit your. Well, firstly, it depends on your visa situation. If if the company is willing to sponsor, then I think you can work anywhere you would like to work in that particular country. I also see a lot of students applying for Middle East, especially
Okay.
for consulting. So that's a good option if you don't want to limit yourself to Europe. And there, the companies also sponsor a lot of visas, so it can be a good option.
Okay. Do you think MIM can be a stepping stone for a MBA later?
Well, I think it depends a lot on your personal career goals.
Yeah.
If I talk about me, maybe it's too soon to do an MBA right now for me, or probably I'd like to do an executive MBA later on in life. But right now, I think I'm quite happy with Masters in Management program, and there's like no plan for me to do an MBA right now. But
Okay.
it's a personal career choice.
Okay. Coming to the finances and ROI part, can you give us a bit of idea of the total cost of doing MIM, maybe tuition, living cost?
Yes, so for sure, because finance is something like I get a lot of questions about, is it worth spending so much of money and moving
Yeah.
abroad for a degree? I understand the concerns, and if I have to like talk in numbers, when I was estimating the total cost, it came to be around 60 lakh, because this
Okay.
includes my living cost for 2 years as well as the tuition cost. However, now there are different ways to look at ROI. Of course, the investment is one of them, and usually I suggest students to probably try to pay the tuition fee in installments and see if you can get a loan. I got a loan from a French bank, and they have quite low interest rates, so if that's possible, try to do that.
Okay.
Additionally, also look at it from what is it going to offer you in short term and long term. If you're thinking about ROI, usually it would take around 2 to 5 years for you to pay back your student loans which you've taken. That's
Okay.
pretty much fair if you're getting a job which you're interested in, you like, and uh, it meets your salary requirements. Apart from
Yeah.
this, you can also focus on minimizing your expenses and probably like work as a student. I did student. I worked in Germany as a student for project management, and you get paid like 15 euros per hour. So that helps in just probably like maintaining your living expenses, and then also you're doing internships, so you do end up saving money there. Overall, I think this is how you would think of it in short term, but in long term
Okay.
I would also suggest you to look at it that from a different perspective, which is apart just finances. For example, if you are looking for global opportunities, a good career progression, and networking on a global level, I think that's something which you need to think about in long term and probably does not fall under the bucket of ROI, but yeah, it's something which you get as a byproduct once you complete your MIM program.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also, I think one important factor would be scholarships. If you're able to
Yeah.
get a scholarship which covers your tuition fee or maybe your living expenses, there are a lot of opportunities available which are funded by the government. So
Yeah.
please apply there, and I think that really helps a lot in getting a good ROI.
And some of the scholarships that I was looking for, there was like Campus France, and would you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, no. So for if you're applying for France, then definitely Campus France is a really good option to look at, and there are other different of scholarships like Eiffel, Sharpa, and I do remember some of my batchmates were awarded with these scholarships. It genuinely helps in providing financial support. Apart from the government funded, there are also merit scholarship which the business school provides. So if you
Okay.
already have a good profile or maybe you have some good scores and you did really well in the interview process, then at the time of your acceptance letter, once they give you an offer letter, they also tell you that if you've been awarded a scholarship. So that can also be a good way to cover your expenses, and I think that's great to give some sort of financial support.
So, are there like on campus or off campus jobs available for students to do?
Well, it depends. It depends on the business school and the language requirements of the job.
Yeah.
Usually in France, I found it quite difficult to find student job opportunities, and
Okay.
but when I moved to Germany, I think it was much more easier for me. In France, you do get apprenticeship opportunities where this employer pays for your tuition fee. So again,
Yeah.
that's one great way to cover your expenses. But I think for me, Germany was a better place to work as a student than France because of the language barriers.
Okay. Is there something like a CAF amount that you get from the government also? And
Yes, so CAF is basically a housing allowance you get. If
okay.
you're staying in France as a student, then based on your rent and the location, you're allocated a housing allowance, which is around like 100 to 150 euros, and that also is a great way to save money.
Yeah. Yeah. Even there was some terms that if you are unemployed, then also the government gives you certain amount to be able to sustain.
Yes, like they do offer some unemployment benefits as well.
Any challenges that you faced? Maybe in
Um,
terms of academic rigor or recruitment,
I
getting
think,
jobs.
yes, in terms of challenges, I think there are like three of them which are quite common. Firstly,
Okay.
it's the cultural integration. Probably, it's always a bit, it's always something very new for most of us, and uh, getting comfortable with a different culture can take time.
Hmm.
Second can be financial challenges, especially the tuition fee for the business schools are increasing on an annual basis. So it's getting more expensive to study abroad. And lastly, I would say the visa. That's
Okay.
also a big administrative challenge we have to navigate. Just like we have to navigate across while applying for work opportunities.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the work culture. How is it like
Yeah.
different from working in India since you have previously worked here?
Yes. So I think everybody knows that there's a lot of like work-life balance in Europe as compared to India, and that's one major differentiating factor.
Yeah.
Usually, if you're not working in a strategy consulting role or finance roles, then the working hours are quite decent, 9 to 6, 9 to 5, depending on your job position. And of course, if you're working on a hierarchy, much hierarchy level like manager, then it can increase. But I think the work-life balance is quite good here, and also in terms of diversity, like my office has people from across the globe, and I think it's just great to work with different set of people and nice to know how they think or approach a problem. And yeah, I think it keeps the environment in the office quite international. So yeah, I think
Okay.
these two are quite differentiating factors here.
One more thing, I was just listening to a podcast and they were talking that, especially in Germany, uh, like they're talking about the layoffs, that they usually don't lay off people unless they have a very strong reason to. So a bit of job security they have. So is it like similar to that in Europe?
Okay, so in terms of job security, well, well, if you want to compare this to US, then of course there's much better job security in
Yeah.
Europe. But depending on the restructuring or downsizing plans of the company, there can be certain layoffs for which you do get
Okay.
severance pay. I've heard of such cases, and sometimes students have to go through this. But again, you do get some time off to look for other opportunities, and
Okay.
you're also paid. You're also informed in advance about such scenarios or such circumstances. So yeah, I
Okay.
think unfortunate, but yeah, these things can happen.
Okay. Any of your thinking on any professional or personal growth that you experienced during or doing this program? Maybe doing an international degree that you feel.
I think I really like the fact that I got the global exposure, which I always wanted.
Okay.
Always wanted to study abroad, and I think now it's much more open for me to apply to different countries in Europe, and at times, and I think I like that flexibility. I'm currently working in Netherlands. I've also previously worked in Germany for internships and in France. So I like the fact that there is a lot of diversity, and it just helps me understand different cultures better and also understand how are the different ways of working. So I really
Yeah.
like that, and maybe sometime in future I might want to apply to Middle East. Well, I think that option is also open. So I like the
Yeah.
fact that it's quite flexible and have a lot more opportunities to apply now.
And in terms of personal growth, also, I think it really takes you out of the shell when you have to do everything on your own, and you have to understand everything from scratch and do things on your own. It really makes you independent and strong, and not just for the program, also for life. So let's talk about some misconceptions and myths about MIM.
Okay.
So one was that MIM is just a mini MBA. People consider
Uh,
that it's a shortcut. Rather than doing MBA, they should do an MIM.
Well, I wouldn't really call this a shortcut because you're still investing your 2 years, at least 2 years of your time for studying the course. But
Yeah.
indeed, it's very similar to MBA because of the course curriculum program and the kind of opportunities you get after you graduate from MIM. It depends a lot on your professional work experience and how many years of experience you have, what's your age, and at what hierarchy are you currently working in. If you're looking for some entry level jobs, then MIM is a better option. But if you're already at a managerial level, then for sure go for an MBA because that will suit you better.
Yeah, both have like different set of applicants who should apply to, and I think that's one of the things. So next
Right.
was an MIM doesn't lead to a higher level of job.
Higher level of jobs, well, because
Maybe maybe MBA graduates enter at higher level, and MIM goes to, people think that MIM goes to certain level and then you can't go much higher, or you might require an MBA to move further up. Is it uh, like the
I
case?
I I don't think that's the case because
Okay.
it's just that from MIM you would start from an entry level job. Once you get a job,
Okay.
then it's the usual career progression that's how it goes, and then
Okay.
it depends on how well you're doing in the job and your promotions, right, and your performance review.
One more thing was that there are other programs as well, maybe masters in specialized fields, also masters in finance. How do you like see them, and how does it like compare
Um,
to MIM?
Yeah, I think the specialized master programs are also a really nice option. It's just that it will limit your subjects. And for example, masters in finance would all be about finance. And for me, I was not sure back then that which subjects do I need to pursue further. That's why I opted for MIM. But if a student is sure that they want to probably go for finance or go for marketing or HR and they're 100% sure about it, then doing a specialized master's program is also a great opportunity.
Okay, now let's talk about visa and stay back options.
So depending on the country, for example, if I have to talk about France, if you are done with your graduation, then you do get then you can apply for a job seeking visa, and basically gives you more time to stay in the country, and at the same time look for jobs without any administrative problems.
So thank you,
Okay.
Isha. Thank you very much for taking your time out to help us out and understand the program. I hope कि लोगों को clarity मिलेगी about the program who are aspiring to do an MIM. So thank you very much.
Well, no worries, and thank you so much for conducting this session. I truly enjoyed, and I hope, really hope that some students who are applying for MIM program in future find this helpful. If you have further questions, you can always drop a message and reach out to understand what the program is about, and just to understand how the structure, how the course looks like. And if you have any further questions, would really like to help you out. And yeah, thank you so much for conducting this.
Okay,
Bye
thank
bye.